Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And today we're going to do a small little segment on bird strikes. As promised, I was going to redo the video, and here it is. We will go through some explanation, why and how it occurs. We will talk about how it can be mitigated, and I will also take you through the maintenance process when it actually does happen. Now, before we get into this, I just want to give you guys a fair notice. Viewer discretion is advised. You will see some graphic images of dead birds, obviously. So if you guys are squeamish on that stuff, please don't watch. If you have kids in a room, please don't show. I don't want nobody to get, ill from this, but I'm just giving you guys a heads up. I'll give you another one right before those images, just in case you do want to watch and you want to just fast forward through that part. So let's begin. As you know, birds occupy pretty much most of the same airspace as aircraft do. Sometimes it's unavoidable. A bird will hit an aircraft, and where they usually do hit is the leading edges or the front of the aircraft. Leading edge of the wing, vertical stabilizer, horizontal stabilizer, engines, fuselage, the front portion of it, the belly, even the windows. About 90% of the time, if you're a flying passenger, you wouldn't even know about it. Even the pilots won't even know about it, unless it directly hits them where the flight deck is. And in worst case scenarios, just like the landing on the Hudson, ingestion into the engines. And that was a real bad one. The most common occurrences happen on takeoff and landing. And as I said before, most of the time pilots won't even notice. They'll just keep on flying. Unless the bird hits them directly right into the windshield or causes any kind of significant damage to the engines or maybe the landing gear, you'll have sensors or visual indication that something is wrong. At that point, pilots have the option to do a rejected takeoff or do a go around and come back and land. It's kind of hard to avoid birds because most airports are either coastal or in big metropolitan areas, also big open wide spaces. You can have birds no matter what. So let's talk about mitigation, how to avoid this or how to prevent this. Most airports implement a variety of methods to deter birds. Noise is one of them. Airports use megaphones or loudspeakers or sonic cannons, even recording predatory calls to disturb birds. Matter of fact, even some airports implement predatory birds, apex predators that will hunt down other birds or deter them from flying around that area. A good example would be falcons or trained falcons. Some facilities even implement lasers, obviously not pointing at the airplanes, but at where the bird migration is happening. Some use netting. Some airports even have the capacity to readjust the habitat, basically by modifying the nearby landscape to make it less bird-friendly, which in turn allows the birds to find a other suitable location. These are not 100% effective methods, but it most of the time works. But now let's talk about what actually we do as maintenance when we do encounter a bird strike. If it's a pilot report, we are already out there. We're going to start investigating and we're going to debrief the pilot, making sure to understand where they saw the bird strike happen. If the pilots didn't know what happened, this is what we do as a preventative maintenance. We do a walk around. When performing a walk around, we look for particular things, most notably the red spot and feathers, which would be the impact of the bird onto the aircraft. Now, one thing to note, there's other things flying around besides birds. There's bugs. This is where it comes down to playing my favorite game. Is it a bird or a bug? Bugs also can leave a residue and can leave streaks of red across the fuselage and the engine, but it takes a trained eye to identify if it's a bird or a bug. Let's assume the aircraft just came in and I see an impact spot and I see blood and I see feathers. Time to investigate. Time for my little warning. Viewer discretion is advised. You are going to see dead birds and some residue of birds. There's going to be two examples of that I encountered. I'll also show you a bit more severe examples later on in the video. So here we have a 321 that rolled in and automatically we look at the belly and there it is, the red spot, and I see feathers. As I said, the first thing we do is we'll debrief the pilots. Second of all, notify our crew chiefs and supervisors. And then we pull the appropriate paperwork because yes, there is designated paperwork just for bird strikes. Same thing with lightning strikes. It takes you through a step-by-step process telling you where to look, how to look. Even though you're looking at that belly fairing and you're saying there's not much significant damage at all, but you have to think about this. That bird bounced off and it might have gone into other systems. And when I say systems, I mean components. Remember, I said this happens usually on takeoff and landing. The landing gear are down, flaps are down. If that bird hit the belly, it might have bounced off and hit the landing gear, causing damage to some components. It could bounce off and hit the bottom side of the flap or the leading edge slats. So the tedious process begins. We drop the gear doors if the aircraft has gear doors. We deploy the flaps. A very thorough walk around and inspection, a detailed visual inspection is performed. Because at this point, we're not just going to assume it was one bird. What if there was a secondary bird? So we do it on the entirety of the aircraft. Earlier, as I mentioned, you have to have a bit of a trained eye and be used to this because sometimes you will encounter certain debris, such as grease, that could potentially look like a bird strike, but it really is not. Pay attention right here. Look at the leading edge of this flap. Looks like a mess, right? Potentially could be a bird, but it's not. It's actually grease from the flap track fairings. Next up is we go get a lift because guess what? We now have to inspect the upper portion of the wing and the rest of the fuselage. After getting proper safety equipment and geared up, we go up. One person will be the driver of the lift, the other person will be inspecting, and there's also another person on the ground as a spotter. This is for safety precaution. After all said and done, there was no other damage to the aircraft. That was an isolated hit. Following up with the paperwork, the aircraft is now deemed back into airworthy condition. We can close up the gear doors and we can raise the flaps. Everything is documented within the logbook and per procedure of that job card we performed. Say we did find damage on certain components. For example, the nose landing gear of the aircraft is very susceptible when it comes to birds. Birds do hit the nose gear. And what do you usually find at the nose gear? Landing lights or taxi lights. These are very easily replaced as long as surrounding components are not damaged. Let me take you to scenario number 2 right here. This time around, the bird hit at the bottom, and the pilots actually noticed this. It hit the TAT probe, the total air temperature probe. Now, this is a very sensitive piece of equipment or instrument. Once again, towards the guidelines of the paperwork, now we go into a deeper inspection because portions of that bird could have gone inside of that probe. Same exact process takes place. We drop the gear doors, we inspect everything. Same with the flaps. With this particular scenario, the bird actually got kind of sliced in half. Half of it disappeared, did not hit anything else, but the other half of it actually hit a portion of the brake because we found residue and feathers at the brake assembly. We determined that the TAT probe needed to be changed and this aircraft was going to be occupying the gate for too long, so aircraft got grounded for this. It's better to be safe than sorry. Safety is always #1 priority. Okay, one more warning because these next images are going to be a bit more severe. You're going to see more severe damage and what happens when a bigger bird hits an aircraft. So once again, viewer discretion is advised. If you don't like to see that kind of stuff, fast forward. There have been very severe cases where big enough birds can actually go through the radome itself, causing damage to the ILS equipment or the weather radar. Here's another example of hitting it, the TAT probe, as well as the AOA, the angle of attack sensor, and a pitot tube. Most notable ones you probably see is when it hits the windshield like this. I don't want you to worry on this because windshields are actually made very strong. Most modern jetliners, the windows are actually made out of laminated construction. There's multiple panes in there, as well as an air gap. Not only can it withhold pressure of the aircraft, but it can also withstand a bird impact. And a very interesting facet of this, remember, windows have window heat to prevent icing. Also, heating the window makes it more pliable, so if there was an impact, it can absorb it and not just break. Example of an extremely large bird hitting a portion of the flap. This I know does not look very pleasant, but I want to remind you how strong these aircraft are built. It can withstand this kind of impact and still keep on flying. One important factor of this is the engines because we don't want birds getting ingested into the engines. Now, I'll always get the comment that how come we just don't put a protective barrier? Let's put a fence in front of that intake so nothing gets ingested. Well, I can automatically tell you 2 problems with that. Problem number 1, you're restricting proper airflow to that engine, sacrificing that engine's performance and efficiency. Problem number 2, you just created a hazard. Let's say that fence or that barrier that you put up there all of a sudden gets loose. Guess where it's going? Right into the intake, not only causing potential damage to all the blades instead of a bird hitting 1 blade, or maybe 2, now you just took that whole engine out of commission. Believe it or not, if it's not a severe case like it happened to Sully in the Hudson River, 90% of time, the bird will get ingested and go through the high bypass, and the blades will take the punishment. That's how strong they're built. Very rarely that it will go into the core. Here's a good example of it. Look, the bird went into the bypass, never even touching the core. Here's a good example of the type of damage you might incur when the bird gets ingested. We see this kind of damage. At that point, obviously, the aircraft is grounded, and at which point we will replace the blades. One other very interesting factor about this that I forgot to mention is that when we do encounter bird strikes, we actually have to collect the remains. And yes, that's done by maintenance. Once we do collect those remains, we actually have to submit that to airport operations. After which, airport operations will actually submit the remains to the Smithsonian. Now you ask yourself why? Because they want to determine the type of species of bird. if it's migrating, where it's coming from, why is it there. There's a whole section on the Smithsonian website where it talks about the forensic science of bird strikes. But there you go, folks. That's pretty much everything I can tell you about bird strikes. How, where, when, and what we do about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the segment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.